After 25 years of hiring film crew, I've noticed something about the people who keep getting called when work gets tight. There are people with tons of experience who still struggle to stay busy, and others whose names seem to come up again and again. A big part of that comes from how confident I feel putting them on the next job. And with the industry changing as much as it is right now, I think that matters more than ever, because I don't think any job in this business is completely safe. What I really want to talk about is why one person gets the call and the other person doesn't. Before we get into that, let's deal with the question I keep hearing. When is the film industry going back to the way it was? I hope it gets busier, and I hope more projects come back and the crews get larger again. I just wouldn't bet my career waiting around for that. I'd watch projects get discussed and budgeted and almost scheduled and then disappear before I even made the first crew call. I've also seen productions move forward with fewer people handling more responsibility. Clients who once spent heavily on traditional video are putting more of that money into social content and creators in something else entirely. Film work isn't over, but the way it gets made and the way people get hired are changing. So, if I were a crew member wondering where my next call was coming from, here's where I'd start. Become harder to replace. So what actually makes someone harder to replace? Think about two crew members with the same title. Okay, they have similar experience, they both know the equipment, and they can handle the technical part of the job. Then another project comes in and one of their names pops into the producer's head first. Why that person? Usually it's because they bring more to the job than the task they were assigned. They notice problems early, they communicate clearly, and they stay calm when the schedule starts coming apart. The job just feels easier when they're there. And you remember that. I remember on a Snickers shoot, when the weather turned and we had to change the entire plan very quickly. There are moments when you find out who really helps the production. Some people need every new instruction before they can move. Other people understand what the change means for the department and they start adjusting while staying in communication with everyone around them. They're not trying to take over the set, they're just paying attention. And when you're the producer with several things changing at once, you remember the people who make your job easier in the moment. That's the kind of person you feel comfortable hiring again and again. I think of them as safe hire. That's the safe hire principle. You still have to know your craft. That part isn't optional, but being good at your individual assignment won't automatically keep your name on the top of the call list. You also want to become someone who the producer trusts when the plan changes, because the plan almost always changes. So, on your next job, look around a little. Where's the pressure building? Maybe information isn't getting passed along, or another department is waiting on something. You may spot a small problem that's about to become a larger one. Now, you don't have to jump in and take control. Sometimes it's as simple as asking the right question or catching a detail before it turns into something the producer has to deal with. That's how you go from being good at your position to becoming someone people really want back. But there's something else I've seen happen to really good crew. Sometimes I simply forget about them. Stay visible before the job exists. I've worked with incredibly talented people who just disappeared from my radar. They were still doing great work, we just hadn't spoken in a long time. Then a job would come in and I'd start thinking about people that I'd worked with recently or heard from lately. That's how hiring often works. And I'll admit something that may not sound completely fair. I'd love to tell you that every time I crew up a project, I search the entire country and I find the single most qualified person available. That's usually not what happens. Sometimes I get a call on a Tuesday and I have to crew up by Thursday. At that point, I'm thinking about who I already know and trust and whose name comes to mind. A very talented person can be overlooked simply because I haven't heard from them in a while. That may not be fair, but it's real. And that's why I say, don't network, connect. Network can feel like approaching people because you need something. Connecting is just maintaining real professional relationships before you need a job. It might be a quick congratulations when somebody's project comes out, or a simple check-in with someone you genuinely enjoyed working with. Sometimes all you're doing is reminding them that you're still around and you'd like to work together again. Oh, and by the way, if reaching out feels awkward and you never know what to write, I made a GPT called TVA that can help. TVA stands for them, value, availability. It helps you make the message about them first so that you can mention your availability without sounding like, please hire me. It can help you write the text or email, and I'll put the link below and you can get access to it. Now, you don't have to message everybody every week. That would be annoying. You just don't want to disappear for a year and assume that you'll be the first person they remember when a job appears. Staying visible won't guarantee that every call comes to you. It just gives your reputation a chance to keep working even when you're not on set. Staying on a producer's radar matters, but that only helps if you're still the right person for the job they're making today. Adapt before you have to. I had a regular client who used to produce a lot of traditional video projects. Then the call stopped. There wasn't a big conversation and the company was doing fine and they were still creating content. They simply decided to make it differently. Instead of hiring a traditional production crew, they started putting more of their money into social content and working with influencers. Yeah, hey, groan all you want. It's real. That was work I'd counted on, so yes, it was frustrating. I could have kept waiting for them to go back to the kind of production they used to make, and I might still be waiting. What that reminded me is that the work doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it just moves. Maybe the client changes how they spend the budget. The format could get smaller, or the work may come from a company you've never dealt with before. Now, you don't have to love every change. You do have to notice it. Adapting isn't only about learning new technology. It's also about understanding what clients are making now and where they're spending their money. We've been through changes like this before. Digital cameras changed the camera department. Digital editing completely changed post. Now we're dealing with AI, virtual production, smaller crews, and this new kind of content. I can't tell you which tools will matter most 5 years from now. Nobody can. I know I wouldn't dismiss something just because it feels unfamiliar. Your experience still matters. You just have to keep it useful. I'd rather hire an experienced person who's curious about a new workflow than someone who knows the same old system perfectly but refuses to adjust. That might mean learning a new camera system or using AI to help with prep. For somebody else, it could simply mean learning how to work well with a smaller team. You don't need to chase everything. Honestly, that would be exhausting. You just need to notice when the job is changing and be willing to learn what you need. The platform may change and the thing you're actually good at still has value. Now, I'm not telling you to abandon the work you love. I'm saying your entire career probably shouldn't depend on the one part of the industry continuing to operate exactly the way it used to. I used to believe that the longer you worked in the business, the safer your career became. I don't believe that anymore. Experience still matters. You still have to keep learning, and the people doing the hiring have to remember that you're there. That's what I mean by the safe hire principle. Your job may not be safe. None of us can promise that. But you can become someone producers feel a lot safer calling. Those are the people I've continued calling for 25 years, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Of course, staying hired is only half the challenge. I've seen freelancers earn 6 figures and still feel like one slow month could undo everything they've worked for. In this next video, I'll explain why high-income freelancers still feel broke and what you can be doing differently. Click here and I'll send you over there.